The NBA is back in action tonight after having had a week off for the All-Star break. There's been a lot of talk about what can be done to fix the All-Star game, what can be done to fix the dunk contest, what the league needs to do to just reinvigorate this event, this once glorious event. Now, of course, LeBron has been the face of the league for the last 10, 15 years, definitely since Kobe busted his Achilles and LeBron's been in Miami. He's definitely been considered as the face of the league, and they're talking about who should take over as face of the league when he's retiring and when he's ultimately going to retire. And he was asked about this at the press conference for All-Star Weekend, and he said that he wasn't sure when he was going to retire, and when he makes that decision, if he's going to go quietly into the night, Tim Duncan style, or have somewhat of a farewell tour similar to Kobe or, say, Kareem, two great Lakers who played before him. And the funny thing I thought was that he said he's not too good at accepting praise. Now, to me, that's a fucking joke. The dude has chosen one tatted on his back. He calls himself the king, and he calls himself the greatest of all times. Now, self-confidence is a great attribute to have. You need it in life. You definitely need it in a highly competitive game, league, such as the NBA basketball. You need to be confident. You need to believe in yourself. But, this guy pats himself on the back more than anybody I've ever seen in the NBA. Rui Hachimura has a good game when he sits out, and LeBron gives himself credit for that somehow. And we're supposed to sit up here with a straight face and listen to this guy say that he's not too good at receiving praise, and that's why he doesn't know if he wants to have a farewell tour when he does decide to retire. Now, after this season, he has the player option with the Lakers. He can pick up the option and play the next year on his contract for $50 million, or he can decide that he doesn't like the roster that the Lakers have built around him and that he wants to go somewhere else to finish out his illustrious career. Now, tonight, the Lakers are playing against the Golden State Warriors. And, of course, we all know LeBron played in the All-Star game. He had some highlight open lane dunks. Everybody had an open lane in the All-Star game. But he had some dunks. And the reason I'm emphasizing those dunks is because he's, as a Lakers fan, if you watch the Lakers all season long like I do, and this is a major reason why I even talk about LeBron as much as I do, is because I love basketball and I love the Lakers. And he's a Laker. So there will be a game that he'll have dunks, highlight dunks, where a layup would suffice, and then he'll sit out the next game, usually versus a team that's an actual threat to win. Most recently, for example, Lakers lost to the Nuggets on Kobe's statue night, and then the very next night, they beat up on the Pelicans. Good team, good win versus the Pelicans. That was on a Friday night. They had 3 days off, and then they played the Pistons, which LeBron played in that game, and then the very next game was versus Utah, which LeBron didn't play, and that was the last game before All-Star break. So he had those 3 days off or more before All-Star weekend. He had more than 3 days off between his last game versus the Pistons and when he played in the All-Star game, all the way up until today, because the All-Star game was on Sunday. So that's another 3-4 days. So he essentially played one game in the last 10 days. And now he's sitting out against Western Conference rival and his lifelong rival since, the 2010s in Steph Curry. And this is an important game. This game has all kinds of implications as far as the standings in the Western Conference. The Lakers have already played the Golden State Warriors a couple times recently, in the play-in tournament, and then in the second round of the playoffs. It's a team that we're going to have to see. The Lakers are going to have to see. And, you want to win those head-to-head matchups. The last time these two faced off, it was a primetime game on a Saturday night. It went into the double overtime, and the Lakers won by 1 point. And there was all kind of controversy about the free throw disparity. But this is the frustrating part about being a Lakers fan. You don't want to hate on LeBron. He's part of your team. You want him to win. But it's, how are you sitting out with the ankle injury, but you were playing in the All-Star game, and the only points you got in that game were due to dunks? That we see it all the time. You're dunking all over the place, and then you sit out the next game with an ankle. I get it. He's 39 years old, and we got to appreciate what he can still do at the age of 39 and all these things. And, you can't disregard what he's accomplished throughout the course of his career and all that. But if you're going to sit out games that matter and play in games that don't matter as much or don't have the optics of mattering that much, you're sitting out versus the Celtics, you're sitting out versus the Clippers, you're sitting out versus the Warriors, you don't like playing versus the Jazz, but you're cool with beating up on the Pistons, you're cool with beating up on the Charlotte Hornets. It's frustrating because if your ankle is so bad that you got to, miss these games, then why are you doing all these dunks in the game? Don't you think you would just take like a less impactful shot? You don't have to jump high to do a little layup, especially when you're 6'9". But when you want to try to do it for the gram, do it for the highlight reel ass fucking dunk every time you get a chance, we're not going to be happy that you're sitting out games. That's why it's frustrating to be a Lakers fan and have LeBron on the team.